This is Prophetess Mary Tama, the Queen of the North. Today I've got a very important message to all the scattered Hebrews, all the people who are being called and awakened by the Most High, Yahweh. I am your prophetess. I am the first wife of my Lord husband, King Atihan. So yeah, I'm your prophetess. I wanted to talk about where the promised land is because I'm seeing so much happening with this awakening where now some people are claiming that the promised land is in Africa, that people have to flee to Africa, that the great exodus is to Africa. That is a lie from the pits of hell. I'm telling you this as your prophetess. Africa is actually a cursed land. There is no blessing in Africa. Yes, it's got so many resources. It is the land of the original people because, yes, creation happened in Africa. But the land was cursed when Adam fell. Hence, you find that in Africa, even after colonization has been abolished and everything, after all these countries have gained their independence, there is still, these people can't seem to progress. There's just so much poverty. There's just so much problems in Africa. The people can't just seem to progress. Why? It's because it's a spiritual problem. The land itself is cursed. The God of creation cursed it. And this happened at the fall when Adam ate the fruit. So it doesn't make any sense that people are claiming that they are going to flee to Africa in the second Exodus. That's not going to happen. Africa is not the chosen continent. It's not the chosen lands. The Garden of Eden, yes, it's located in Africa. The Garden of Eden is actually in Zimbabwe. It's a sacred land. That's where I grew up. It's a sacred land. But it's a very cursed land. Yet it's got the best gold in the whole of Africa. Zimbabwe is the biblical land of Ophir, okay? But it's cursed. That's why even the people can't do anything with the gold. They can't do anything with the resources. Africa is blessed with the most, they've got all these natural resources. They've got all the wealth. But yet, they're the poorest in the world. Why? It's the land which is cursed. Even if the Edomites leave physically, the curse is still there. The land is cursed. So it does not make any sense. If anyone is telling you that you have to flee to Africa, that is madness. There is no glory in Africa. A few years ago, about 10 years ago, before I met my Lord husband, I joined this church called GOCC. It's led by this black man called Elder Akar. It's one of those black Hebrew Israelite churches in America, but they've got a big branch here in the UK, in England. So I joined this church on my quest for the truth. And I was so shocked about some of the things that was happening in this church. The leader was telling people to flee to Egypt. Believe it or not, the leader was telling people to flee to Africa. And these vulnerable single mothers, these vulnerable women started to buy tickets, leaving United States of America, leaving the UK to go to Africa. Some women went to Egypt. Apparently one woman died. She committed suicide. Women were going there, vulnerable women without any protection, because an elder, a so-called leader of the Israelites, had told them to flee and go to Africa, saying America is Babylon. So flee and go to Africa. I even had some of the women telling me, at that time I was a single mother, and I had some women telling me that we have to flee to go to Africa. And I said, are you out of your mind? I am not going to Africa. I'm not taking my children who are British and taking them to Africa, the land of poverty. Do you think I'm crazy? I never accepted that doctrine. And do you know what happened? One of my friends, who was a single mom, she took her daughter and fled to Zimbabwe. She went to Africa and now she's back in the UK. She's back. She couldn't cope. Why? Because Africa is a land of poverty. Africa is a land of suffering. There's just something just that it just doesn't work out there. There's just so much pain and suffering on the land of Africa. There's just so much poverty. There's so much disorder as well. Why? Because the land is cursed. And I'm so grateful for my Lord husband, the king. Atihen, he's a man full of wisdom. He's a man full of knowledge. Like, I can't be grateful enough that at that time also these women were telling me that accept that you're a single mother. When I was in GOCC, accept you're a single mother. Let's all flee to Africa. And I said, I'm not doing it. And the Lord God of Israel told me that I had a husband who was going to come for me. And I prayed to the God of Israel, and he gave me this amazing, amazing man, a leader. So when I first met him, I was telling him that, you know what, my love, we have to flee. There's this doctrine that we have to flee. The tribulation is here, we have to flee. And my husband told me that he will never flee to Africa. That is absolute foolishness. And he has opened my eyes to the truth. There is no way Africa is the promised land. It does not make any logical sense. Forget spirituality. The land is cursed. No one wants to live there. The people of Africa who are born there, they don't want to live there. The moment anyone is born in Africa, their dream is to leave and come to the UK, come to England. That is their promised land. Why? Why is that? Because it is the truth. United Kingdom, England, United Kingdom is the promised land. This is Israel. And no, it doesn't belong to the Edomites. This land does not belong to the Caucasians. Remember, they steal everything. They steal identity. They steal everything from people. So this is not their land either. Even the British royal family, they're not even from here. They're from Germany. So this is not their land either. But this is the promised land. That's why everybody yearns to come here. Everybody wants to come here. I'll just read you this article. I'll read snippets of it. This was published in the Daily Express. This is in UK a few weeks ago. Why do migrants risk their lives coming to the UK? Asylum seekers coming to the UK risks their lives taking dangerous journeys across the English Channel and often fall in the hands of traffickers. Why do refugees risk their life, risk everything to come to England and not settle in any other country? That's the question they always ask them, that why don't you go to the other countries? Why United Kingdom? Why England? Do you know why? They don't tell you this truth, because England is the promised land. Here is the promised land. That's why everybody wants to come here. Then you've got some fake Hebrew Israelite leaders telling you that flee to Africa, telling you that go to Africa, when your own instinct tells you that you don't want to go to Africa. No one wants to live there. Everyone wishes to be in the United Kingdom. There was this Ghanaian guy who was deported back in 2018. He grew up in the UK, then he committed a crime, bless him. Then he was deported back to Ghana. It was a very, very sad story, very, very sad, very cruel as well, like no humanity whatsoever. And this is what he said. His name was Kweku Adoboli. This is what he said. Being banished from this country and the West is by far the worst punishment that can be forced upon somebody. I fear it is something that nobody can ever recover from. These are the words of a black man born in Ghana, yet grew up in England. He said he can never ever recover from being banished from this country. Why? This is the promised land. This is it. That's where everybody wants to come to. This is the promised land. It is not somewhere in some desert in Africa. No, there's nothing in Africa. There's nothing but poverty. There was a Zimbabwean woman called Makosi. She was deported. She also came here, and then I think she lived here for like over 10 years. And then she was deported back to Africa. And up to today, she has never ever recovered from being deported. She portrays that this was the worst thing that could happen to her. Everybody who is deported feels this way. They don't want to go to Africa. It's horrible. Especially when you've lived here. You don't want to go there. Why? Because this is the promised land. Everybody wants to come here. And I'm so grateful because I've got a husband who taught me this truth, who led me to this truth. And I'm very, very grateful that during this awakening, people are coming to the Northern Kingdom, which is in United Kingdom. This is Israel. This is the promised land. This was originally the land of black people. This is Jerusalem. They have lied to you. That's why everybody wants to come to Jerusalem. Everybody yearns to come to Zion. Zion is here. It is not in Africa. And only our kingdom has this truth. Only our kingdom can challenge these Caucasians and Edomites that this is our country. They can't tell us, go back to Africa. We belong here. This is our promised land. This is the land of our forefather Jacob. This is the land of Abraham. This is the promised land. And everybody has got the right to come to the promised land. That's a human right. So we are gathering in the Northern Kingdom. It's absolutely beautiful. It's glorious. There are so many sacred places in the United Kingdom. It is the land of milk and honey. Even though there's so much gold in Africa, yet it's the land of poverty. Don't listen to the lies that you have to flee to go to Africa. You are coming to the United Kingdom. If the God of Israel has chosen you, this is your home. You're coming to the Northern Kingdom, in United Kingdom. Nothing can stop prophecy. I am your prophetess.